Hello, everyone, and welcome to the semifinals of the StarCityGames.com Las Vegas Open Weekend. Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan here in the booth. Nick Miller is down in the feature match area as we prepare to watch Zachary Kiihne on your left against Brett Parise on your right. It is Selesnya Tokens versus Golgari mid-range. Our standard portion of our Team Constructed Open. We, of course, have a modern match there in the middle between Evan Whitehouse playing Bad Spirits against Richard Liu playing Hardened Scales. And at the very tippy top, it will be Casey Lancaster playing Lands against Nathan Steuer playing Grixis Control in Legacy. Winner of this match will go on to the finals. And it looks like Kiihne, I can't tell. It must not be good. It strikes me as bad. Okay. Does not appear to be thrilled with his opening hand, so he'll send it back. Brett Parise will wait patiently before we give everyone the green light to play, and then we'll be underway here. And what has been and continues to be a very diverse standard format, but all three very, very diverse.
Oh yeah, it's been great. I mean, on the other side we got Lands versus Grixis Control squaring off here, and then on the other side we've got Storm squaring off against Turbo Depths. And it's sort of been emblematic of all the formats we watched this weekend where both the games have been good and there's been a wide array of decks and strategies at the top tables.
Kiihne's going to take a look at a few less cards this go around, but he's found a hand that he looks like he's happy enough with. And now it's time to scry. And Zachary taking a long look at this top card before deciding what he wants to do with it. Pretty crucial first game here in this matchup. It looks like he's going to keep it on top. We are underway. It'll be a copy of Flower that'll be played to find another Plains. That is the Flower half of Flower Flourish. Llanowar Elves here will get Brett off to a pretty quick start. Oddly enough, not a lot of players and not a lot of decks playing Llanowar Elves.
No. You see it in Golgari, but the Selesnya deck isn't really ramping as such. If you're doing the Convoke thing, then the Llanowar Elf is no different than any other creature, so you can find other things to do.
It'll be Amara, Soul of the Accord there for Zachary Kiihne. For Brett, he'll play a Jadelight Ranger, so he's going to explore not once but twice. Find Finality is the card that Brett is looking at right now. As at the very least, Jadelight Ranger becomes a 3-2, or potentially a 4-3. Next card, another copy of Jadelight Ranger.
Oh, sorry. He's shortcutting. I thought that Kiihne was just like, yeah, you're obviously keeping that on top. Just shortcutting.
Yep.
Gets the counter regardless of what happens there. And also, he's definitely going to keep it on top.
Yeah, pretty tough to say no to another copy of Jadelight Ranger. Such a great card. Is that Merfolk. Plains. Here from Kiihne. And now it will be a copy of Legion's Landing. So a 1/1 Vampire token on the way. Tokens aplenty. And now it'll be a Conclave Tribunal to take care of that Jadelight Ranger. And that'll be the turn here for Zachary as we head back over to Brett. Looks like it's going to be Jadelight Ranger again here for Brett, so he'll take a look at the top card. Find Finality. Again the reveal. Again placed into the graveyard. Next one, Llanowar Elves. Well, Jadelight Ranger will be a 4-3. Let's see where this one's going to go, to the graveyard. Okay. And I have a feeling, yeah, Brett's going to miss a land drop.
Yep, not surprising here that he's if he's cycling through his split cards there, it's an indication that he is really light on mana.
This will be an attack with 3 creatures, which means that Legion's Landing will transform into a Danto, the first fort. There's the block. Amara, Soul of the Accord, looks like it will bite the dust, but a little bit of damage will come through. And now the follow-up will be another copy of Amara and a History of Benalia trigger, make a token. So A lot of tokens here. I think the only thing that Zachary is missing is kind of like a Flourish, March of the Multitudes, something like that, a big payoff.
Missing a card that is powerful. But everything else is all rolled up.
Sure, that. Venerated Loxodon, as an example, wouldn't be bad. This is another copy of Jade Light Ranger. Trigger, let's try again. Cast down.
Nope.
I think I'm with you. Next one.
There we go.
Well, we've done the impossible. Swamp will go to the grip and immediately onto the battlefield. Pass the turn back. History Banale will go up to 2 counters. Draw a card. At the very least, Kiihne gets to make a 1/1 with a Danto.
Yep. Even if Parise gets to set up shop here and have well-sized creatures.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's a big one here. Yeah, I mean, Kiihne's just setting up to go super wide next turn. Even if Parise has larger creatures on the battlefield, he's just going to have so much value here, connecting with what he gets to connect with, and he can make tokens with his flipped land that it's going to be hard to keep up. Plus, we hit Chapter 3.
Yeah. Venerated Loxodon, very, very good for Andrew Ellenbogen in his Pro Tour win, and we continue to see it be good across multiple decks. A card that was initially overlooked during preview season for Guilds of Ravnica. This Elephant Cleric has shown that it's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So we're going to head back over to Brett, who's had some mana troubles to get this game started. Now Selesny is starting to really get out of control. And this goes back to something that you mentioned earlier in the weekend that I really agree with. All these decks within their guilds, they feel like you think they should. So Selesny really feels like Selesny for what feels like to me the first time.
Yeah, it's tokens, it's convoking, it's anthem effects. Yeah, say what you will about the current standard format. I think it's in really good shape. Things could always be not even necessarily better, but different. But the feel of the guilds and the way they emerge in standard, I think, is without question a success.
Yeah, I think it's really, really good. So Venerated Loxodon has helped pump up some creatures here. And there's some attacking to be done with quite a few creatures, it looks like. Yep, here we go.
I'm not a huge fan of Parise. I'm not a huge fan of Parise here waiting on. His hand is so transparently Vasquez Contempt that I'm not sure what's to be gained by waiting to use your Contempt on the 2/2. It's going to happen. Why give him an extra token?
Sure. That extra token could end up mattering.
It's not like Kiihne's going to be surprised here by Vasquez Contempt. You've been land screwed the whole game and just played land number 4 and said go.
History Banale has pumped up some stuff here. And we're going to go to blockers. So Jade Light Ranger is going to be jumping in front of some stuff here. Now, how many copies of Fine Finality? Take a look. It looks like there are 3, and I know at least 2 are in the graveyard.
Yep. I think Kiihne can afford to be really aggressive and just trying to get the game over with 2 of them having been milled over already.
Again, 4 p.m. Modern Challenge. Your next round pairings are posted.
Okay.
That's going to be Assassin's Trophy. All right. Jade Light Ranger is going to yield 2 lands.
So if you want to use Assassin's Trophy and cast down this turn, then that would explain not using the Vasquez Contempt.
Mm-hmm.
You can get rid of the Venerated Loxodon. Trade off, take some hits for sure, but keep your head above water a little bit.
Well, time to line up the blocks. Well, we'll see where the dust settles once all is said and done. But it looks like for Brett now, mana's not going to be much of an issue. Looks like a... Yep, there's the cast down. Take care of the Venerated Loxodon.
All told, this went
okay.
Not bad for Parise.
Yeah, this went okay. Well, as you know, when you're mana screwed,
got spells.
You have spells. So a bunch of creatures will be exchanged here. And again, we'll see what the life totals are when the dust settles. What I can tell you is this. Evan Whitehouse has won game number 1 here over Richard Liu. Bant Spirits up a game over Hardened Scales.
We are trying to resolve the combat here. I think we're going to have the dust settled here momentarily. And 5 damage came across by the looks of it.
So nothing too crazy. The troublesome part is that, well, yep, Kiihne has things to do afterward, which is Adanto Vanguard, and then being able to activate Adanto at the end of Brett's end step.
Yeah, I mean, the game's not going to be manageable from Parise's side without the last copy of Fine Finale, most likely.
Here's a copy of Seeker Squire. Wild Growth Walker is the top card. Going to leave that on top. Counter, it makes it a 2-3.
I mean, that's a way to outpace Adanto at least.
Yep. And he's also got Vraska's Contempt in hand, so there's your token. Vraska's Contempt can take care of Vanguard. All right, here we go. It's going to be a double block there. Vraska's Contempt here. And then take some damage. All right, Secret Squire down. Another Venerated Loxodon.
Oh, man, that's a big one.
It's getting tougher.
Yep. I was about to say, I'm a little surprised not to send in everything if you're going to send in a little bit there, but Venerated Loxodon would explain it.
Yeah, I mean, it's either that or March of the Multitudes, right?
Yep.
That's the only thing that makes sense. And Venerated Loxodon makes a whole lot of sense now. Wild Growth Walker's the draw. That card got worse.
Yep.
5 mana. What's this? Ugh. Not quite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Parise is getting out next turn now.
Well, I don't think so either. Merfolk Branchwalker will be the play. But, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a battlefield here of 1 creature can block a Venerated Loxodon, unless I'm missing something. Forest, sure, you got 1 blocker. Versus a whole bunch of attackers and not a lot of life, it looks like. Yep.
Yeah, it's not close. Just get them all busy. It's lethal by a ton.
Yep. That'll take care of it. Yep.
It's not close. The dice alone kill you. Yeah. We don't even have to look at we don't even have to look at the power. We don't even have to look on the power on the creatures. You're dead to dice.
So Zachary Kiihne is going to win game number 1 here against Brett Parise. Celestian Tokens up a game here over Golgari mid-range. So the team on the left there in Lancaster, Whitehouse, and Kiihne are winning thus far. We'll keep you updated on what's going on in that Lands versus Grixis Control matchup. But again, this is actually one of those times where if it's going long, it doesn't mean that Lands isn't winning.
Right.
Lands does not mind playing a long game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not clear who is necessarily favored in a long game, but Lands can definitely hang.
Let's take a look at the sideboards here, folks. We're going to start with Brett Parise, who's got 4 Duress, 3 Golden Demise, 2 Midnight Reaper, 2 Cruel Harpooner, 2 Thrashing Bronzon, a Carnage Tyrant, and a Vivian Reed.
Well, let's take a look here. Not anything super exciting, I would say. I mean,
I think Golden Demise is good against the token deck.
Golden Demise, and then everything else is kind of for other stuff. So there you go. Golden Demise it is.
Other side of things, Nullhide Ferox ×4. Baffling End ×3, along with Knight of Autumn ×3. 2 Vivian Reeds, 2 Cruel Harpooner, and the Immortal Sun.
Probably bring in the Vivian Reeds and the Immortal Sun. Call it a day.
Wish I got to see more of the Immortal Sun.
Yeah, I like kind of it as a random, 1 or 2 of in sideboards for games that go long. The problem is that one of the matchups where things go the longest is against Golgari, and they are equipped with a lot of answers to artifacts. So it's not a card you can really lean on to get an advantage there.
Well, those are your options there for both players. Zachary Kiihne will be on the draw. Brett Parise will be on the play as these players do sideboard and shuffle up here for game number 2. Again, Evan Whitehouse, has already won game number 1 over Richard Liu. And then Lancaster and Steuer are still battling it out. So let's talk about our newest addition to the StarCityGames.com Creature Collection. It is the Simian Tour Guide, or as I like to call him, the Simian Airplane Destroyer, because we know what's really going on here. Now this you can pick up at your Ravnica Allegiance pre-release January 19th and the 20th, so long as you are going to a participating store. If you want your store to participate, all you got to do is ask them to sign up today. Go to StarCityGames.com/pre-release is where they can find all the information. I suppose you can too, to get your store signed up for this fantastic program that continues to be very popular. Thanks to all of you for participating, both the stores and the players. And do remember, Ravnica Allegiance, that pre-release weekend, it's going to be here sooner than you think, January 19th and the 20th.
Should be fun. Fill out the last 5 guilds.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Very pumped for that. Of those 5 guilds, as I mentioned, I'm most interested to see what Gruul brings to the table. Because I've just been let down by Simic over the years. But now that I think a little bit more about it, I kind of want to know what's going on with the Orzhov. What are they up to?
I think Extort is a really solid, but functional and not the most inspiring keyword.
I liked Extort because I also liked the flavor of the creatures with Extort.
Yeah,
and like the flavor of that world.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that Orzhov was not exactly, like I said, the most inspired keyword, but it played well, and I think, as you mentioned, was very evocative for that guild and sort of the creature types and the art direction. Haunt is an all-time F-. One of the worst keywords of all time.
It was just really confusing.
It's not. Have you read the reminder text? What it does? The reminder text is multiple lines long and doesn't really clearly explain what's happening.
So I think my favorite Haunt card is Seize the Soul. Let's see if we've got that. I believe it has the Haunt reminder text as well.
Is it a rare?
Yeah.
Then it may not.
No?
But we'll see. Normally a heuristic is reminder text goes on commons, rares can go without it. But Haunt's so baffling that I would be shocked if a card just said Haunt on it. It does, yeah, it's rare.
It does just say Haunt.
Yeah, it's a rare.
All right, then that means that Blind Hunter had Haunt, and that had to have the reminder text.
Yeah,
right?
Blind Hunter. That's
okay.
That's the good one.
When the creature sees the whole Haunt is put into the graveyard, you get to destroy something else. This card was so powerful.
Yeah. Haunt is a good one to shortcut.
There you go. There's Haunt. When this creature is put into a graveyard from play, remove it from the game, haunting target creature.
Okay.
Why is that confusing?
Because it's removed from the game but still being tracked.
Okay. When Blind Hunter comes into play or the creature it haunts is put into the graveyard, this card was busted.
It was busted.
It was busted.
Absolutely busted in draft.
I don't know if that's that confusing. I don't design games.
Haunt is pretty bad.
All right. What do you think about the fact that like Crackling Drake counts cards that are in the graveyard and in exile?
I kind of hate it. Like so I really don't like using the exile zone as a thing to be tracked. I think the spirit of it is like these cards are gone and you can stop paying attention to them. So I generally have a really negatively visceral reaction to tracking the exile zone. That said, if you're going to do Jumpstart as a mechanic, it's a non-starter to only count spells in the graveyard. Because you don't want to introduce that tension of, if I Jumpstart this card, then I'm down this bonus for spells in my graveyard.
Sure.
You just have to do it.
Okay.
I don't like it, but at least there's a purpose with Jumpstart being the mechanic.
Legion's Landing is how Zachary Kiihne will start things off. For Brett, it'll be a Merfolk Branchwalker trigger. A land added to hand. This, 2 copies of Flower. One of those lands will, of course, enter the battlefield. Actually, no, he's on the draw, so they'll be entering the battlefield eventually. Looks like Casey Lancaster finally won game number 1 there over Nathan Steuer. As here comes old Branchy.
Am I way off, or does Flower Flourish just kind of suck?
I think you're way off.
I'm way off? Okay.
Yeah. It's like a Tune with Ether sort of with upside. But obviously not as good as with Tune with Ether because like that card was busted. But I don't know. Search for it. Lets you keep like 1-landers and stuff and then...
Yeah, but decks that play with 5 colors worth of really powerful cards are in the market for search for a land of your choice more than your green-white deck should be for search for a land of your choice.
Well, I think the fact that like you get to play the card that says search for a land of your choice, and then you also get this other half of the card that should win the game.
Definitely, yeah. It's not the only thing that's going on. It's
yeah.
just, I don't know. I think it just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I did a good job of changing your mind.
Huh.
It's like that meme. You should actually be in that meme of just a cup of coffee at that table.
Let the dogs out.
Yeah. Flower Flourish sucks. Change my mind. Sapperling Migration is here. And the follow-up is Venerated Loxodon. That's a good turn.
Very nice turn.
All right, for Brett's side, he's got a Merfolk Branchwalker, that's a 2-1, a J-Light Ranger, that is a 3-2, and a Ravenous Chupacabra. And there's Vraska's Contempt. An expensive way to clear away the Loxodon, but gets the job done nonetheless. And now here come the Knuckleheads for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, not a whole lot to be gained by sitting back on defense. You know, if it was one of those things where, well, if he wants to flip Legion's Landing, I at least get to swap an attacker for free, that's one thing. But because any creature you have back on defense would just trade with one of the tokens, I think you're better off attacking.
Well, Legion's Landing will now transform into Adanto, the first fort. And now there is Tristani, bringing along 2 creatures with it to stabilize the battlefield. So Zachary Kiihne needed that Adanto. Needed the additional mana, got it, and now has Tristani on the battlefield. Right over to Brett.
Your 4th and final round pairings are being hosted. Please make your way to your seats. Again, players in the 4 p.m. Sealed Spectacular, your 4th and final round pairings are going up.
Brett's got to figure out a way to navigate a battlefield that's starting to really get gummed up here.
Yep.
This is exactly what Selesnya wants to do. They want to gum up the battlefield, especially on the ground. They're not great in the air, but gumming it up on the ground is pretty nice, and then gaining some life along the way.
And just trying to build up enough of a cushion against finality. I mean, that's the big challenge in the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Game number one, Parise just had to mill over a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's one of his trump cards in the matchup. Not sure if it's the best card in the matchup, but it's certainly one of the best cards. There you go. It's going to clear everything away in this instance, which means that Zachary Kiihne gets to be the first to rebuild. There's a Sun Petal Grove, and there is an Amara with the ability to activate Adanto at a moment's notice. Looks like Vraska's Contempt may have been the draw. And it is to take care of the Soul of Accord. Brett will gain some life from the Vraska's Contempt. Overgrown Tomb enters the battlefield tap. There's a 1/1 Vampire from Adanto. Kiihne will untap and draw very quickly. Play a Plains. Play the Immortal Sun.
Nice.
A card we will certainly take a look at, and it's from his sideboard.
Good spot for it.
Yes, it is. That's 6 mana legendary artifacts. As players can activate Planeswalkers' loyalty abilities. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card, so 2 cards a turn. Spells you cast cost 1 less, and creatures you control get a little bit tougher. Now, this isn't a card you can play a lot of, but it's good when it's on the battlefield.
Yeah, it's a lot of good generic stuff.
Draw 2. And there's an attack for 2.
332 at
Just going to pass the turn back.
Round 4 pairings have been posted. 332
I wouldn't feel good about that if I was Brett.
pairings have been posted.
Well, it looks like not a ton is going on, so just an activation of Adanto, which is nothing to ignore. 2 more cards coming. Attack for 4. Kiihne's going to bring Parise down to 12. Temple Garden tap, pass the turn back. A land, and Parise will pass. Activate Adanto, it looks like, yeah. I'd expect more from Kiihne here, but this looks good enough.
He doesn't need to push that hard, right?
No.
I mean, the board as it stands is enough to induce a sweeper, so.
No, there's a pretty simple attack. Let's see. Probably have to play some removal spell you don't want to. Yeah, like a cast down on a token. Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. These are the exchanges Zachary Kiihne loves to see. He'll activate, and I think we're going to see Venerated Loxodon perhaps now for. Yep, there's a Loxodon, which costs 1 less because of the Immortal Sun.
And you don't have to worry about fine finality because you're locked on to 5/5.
Yeah, that's going to take care of it. Zachary Kiihne's going to win this match over Bet Parise, 2-0. I'll tell you what, we've watched Zachary Kiihne play a couple times here this weekend. This Celestial Tokens deck looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that game was just not manageable by removal, and once the Adanto got flipped, he had enough resources to work with to even slog through finality, which was really impressive.
Well, we're going to head up to Legacy now. See Evan Whitehouse and Richard Liu. They're battling. I take it back. We're going to head over to Modern because they're in Game 3. So we're going to dive into this. We're going to dive into this Modern match and hold the Legacy match because if Richard Liu wins, then we want to see exactly what's going to happen in the match that matters the most. So let's get our eyes on this one. Rest in Peace has been played. And it looks like Evan Whitehouse is in a really good position. I've got 2 Reflector Mages, a Drugskull Captain, a Rest in Peace on the battlefield, along with the Mausoleum Wanderer. For Richard Liu, I see a Hardened Scales, one of his best cards. A Steel Overseer, a Mox Opal that's not turned on yet, and 3 lands. Could get back into this one pretty quickly.
For sure. Whitehouse needs to keep the pressure in the air going here because the ground can get mucked up in a really bad way soon.
This was the concern. A second Hardened Scales, and now a Steel Overseer. This game might end real fast. Because Bliss is a 6/6. Shoot that 3 times. Actually, twice. Shoot that once. Pass. You need to kill that. I would kill that Walking Ballista.
Could use your 1 of Stony Silence, too.
That would be good. Coming into the turn, Evan Whitehouse looked good. Exiting the turn, he looks like a heavy underdog.
I mean, he's beat unless he has really specific cards.
Knight of Autumn is a good place to start.
It's something.
The ability to destroy a target artifact here is crucial. And it looks like Bliss is going to take care of Reflector Mage. I'm a little surprised by that.
Just because of the Phantasmal Image implications?
Mm-hmm.
If he has a follow-up Ballista, though, then
he's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Darksteel Citadel. I wonder what this is going to be. It's going to be Arcbound Ravager that starts off as a 3-3. Follow up with a Hangerback Walker that also starts off as a 3-3. Steel Overseer was going to go active, but doesn't need to right now. I think Whitehouse may have just said pass the turn, and if that's the case, it's not good.
It takes so little for Lou to pivot to a kill here. Clock's really, really fast.
When there are 2 Hardened Scales and an active Steel Overseer, this does not take long. It'll be an Ancient Stirrings. Spell Queller there. All right. Got a lot of work to do in the air. The Throne of Geth. Okay. Here comes Arcbound Ravager and Hangerback Walker.
Now keep in mind the modular debt trigger sort of stuff, not active right now. Rest in peace, got that covered.
A Throne of Geth is fun. Sacrifice an artifact, proliferate.
Two-headed giant players, make your way to your final round of seats.
Want me to give you like the spoiler version of this?
This attack is lethal.
Yeah. You have to block both the creatures. Yeah. Yep. Sacrifice Mox, modular up.
Yep.
Or excuse me, proliferate. Which means you have 3 counters. So that's 12. Should be lethal if memory serves. 15. Is he short one?
Yeah, I think he can pump again.
You can't modular there, right? Because of rest.
No, yeah, he can't modular. He can just, I mean, this is not bad. He could just hit for 9, kill something, and set up lethal next turn with 3 different attackers.
I wonder if the Overseer should have attacked that turn.
You get 1 extra chump block for your trouble, and the chump block either cuts out Phantasmal Image Mattering or you unlock your Ancient Stirrings.
Yeah. I mean, if the goal is just not to die, you can play pretty conservative. He's so far ahead right now, is Richard.
Right.
That just playing conservative there does make some sense. All right. Everyone. Is it path? Okay. Get to search for a land. And then get to do some chump blocking.
This unlocks the Stirrings, and I think we'll be heading over to Legacy in a moment.
I think you're right. And then it will come down to Casey Lancaster and Nathan Steuer. Stirrings activation. Looks like maybe a replacement Steel Overseer. Yep.
Players who registered for the
We'll play a
4:30
Metallic Mimic.
Challenge. 4:30 Pauper players, your round
Another
4
Overseer.
pairings are being posted.
And pass the turn back. That Metallic Mimic gaming construct, of course. So.
Big turn coming.
Yep, gonna need Terminus. And that's gonna do it. Richard Lou's gonna win this one over Evan Whitehouse. It's all tied up in the match, which means we turn our attention to Legacy. These players will be given the green light. And I think Nathan Steuer will be on the play. Again, Steuer behind right now in the match. And we're underway. It'll be a bloodstained mire here for Nathan. For Casey, we'll start things off with a Mox diamond, discarding a Ghost Quarter. Rashad and Port as the land for the turn, and simply pass the turn back. Nathan will draw a card. He'll play a Polluted Delta and sacrifice both lands. Nathan going to try to figure out exactly which lands he wants to go grab here in this spot.
Got to be mindful of you kind of want to get non-basics because you fix your mana and leave the basics in your deck because of Ghost Quarter, but it cuts the other way because you want to minimize your exposure to Wasteland. So these fetches are not simple. You kind of have to have a long-term vision for how you want to manage Lancaster's various ways of disrupting your mana.
Yeah, there's not going to be anything short about this game either, so. A Badlands, an Underground Sea, and now a Hymn to Torok. All right, here we go. We are in Vegas after all. Let's roll some dice.
Kings of Click Clack.
Yes. There you go. This kid would be great on craps. 6 gets paid, 4 gets paid. Looks like Nissa and Dark Depths go to the graveyard.
Question here, I think about if you want to surgical the depths.
That seems like the question that's being asked. That's the type of question that would be being asked right now. That's for sure. Maybe in the draw step. Yep.
Oh, choke.
Talking about choke just makes me really happy.
Oh, I love it.
I don't know why.
I love it.
It's like the lamest way to win, but I just love
wallow in it.
Yeah. I just love it.
It's about targeting the right people.
Yeah. So there go all the Dark Depths.
In a format where blue just has an embarrassment of riches in terms of what the best cards are,
Yeah.
it's nice to punch back.
The most ugly of all the chokes.
Love
Right
it.
there.
Love it.
Yeah. If you're going to do it, really make it hurt.
Yeah.
8th edition white border.
This is how I feel about you.
Yeah. That's being staged. It has begun. All right, Force of Will. Nathan Steuer says, no, it has not.
Yep. Can't let that one resolve this early.
I am curious, though. That's a nice-looking choke there. I am curious. Does Nathan have an answer to the Tireless Tracker?
I think he's down to just lands.
Because the tracker in a spot like this is very powerful. Shelter Thickets the land, trigger, get a clue.
And how much, creature removal is really left in Stewart's deck here. It's tough.
It's a very good question. Yeah, and Steuer with just lands right now.
We should have a clue on the way.
There it is. There's Max McFeedy. You called it, Patrick. Steuer just lands in hand. So this tracker's going to live for at least one turn. And though Casey Lancaster is without Dark Depths, still operating just fine. There's a Wasteland.
Oh, that's a combo with the Tireless Tracker and with the cards Nathan Steuer controls. Oh, you got it. Yeah, you want a Thespian stage that Wasteland. I guess not. All right,
I'll
fine.
crack a clue first.
Whatever.
Tracker going to get a little bit bigger.
That's not my vision. want a white die there to represent that it's going up.
We want to make it as clear for our viewers at home.
You want to tag that Badlands to set up the choke.
Oh.
Badlands. The Badlands. Yes.
Selected. Casey did select the Badlands.
Correct.
Yes.
Because you have choke.
Yes. Upkeep. Sean Port. An island is the draw. Nathan really could use a brainstorm or a spell.
This is a wasteland.
Talk
to me.
Do you want it to be a wasteland?
Talk to me.
Do you want it to be a wasteland?
Yeah, we need to get that thespian stage going too. We can't. The problem, you can't let the wasteland slip out of your hands too fast.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to start by attacking with the tracker here. Steuer going to take 4 once again.
Yeah, I think the plan here is to port and thespian stage the wasteland.
And there you go. Maybe not.
Or just wasteland and port and spew off a point, but whatever. It's all the same to me. It's all the same to me. All the same to me. I'm not one to judge.
I could tell.
Judgment-free zone. Say this. Thespian stage on wasteland sends a message.
Yes, it does. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, this is what's up.
Well, Casey Lancaster and co. Trying to figure out what exactly can Nathan have that gets them out of this spot.
Well, a cantrip you would have seen, a removal spell you would have seen. I think the most likely bets here are a land or force of will.
Fair. Draw a card. Appears he missed a point of damage there, unfortunately.
Attention Magic players. This is a last call to redeem any play.
You see the shrug, you know.
Still unredeemed.
It's okay. Moved a little too fast.
If you played in a team open,
Happens over the course of a long weekend, that's for sure.
and have not redeemed your playmat voucher, this is the
Oh.
last call to
Oh,
redeem
no.
that
Talk to
voucher.
me. You know what's good with you know what's really good with joke?
What's that?
It's Rashad and Port.
Yeah.
Because you see,
I get it. I get it. Is that a surgical extraction? I'm all sorts of confused. You don't want to hard cast that, but you just don't want to cast it.
just let it go.
Yeah.
This is no good.
You just don't want to cast it, my friend.
About to be choked out.
Well, all right. I like this. Yeah, Nathan. I think Nathan knows it's over. I think
Draw.
that's what's happening now. I'm going to take your chokes from you.
Well, there are only two.
Well,
One is in the graveyard and one is on the battlefield.
mm-hmm.
So we're gonna just enjoy a little browse, little window shopping.
It's over. Lancaster, Whitehouse, Kiihne. They did it. Lands, Bant Spirits, and Selesnya Tokens are moving on to the finals as Nathan Steuer, Richard Liu, and Brett Parise. Heck of a run with Grixis Control, Hardened Scales, and Golgari mid-range, but they aren't able to get the job done. A top 4 finish is nothing to be upset about. Casey Lancaster, Evan Whitehouse, and Zachary Kiihne could win this tournament here, folks.
Yeah, great run. And we're going to be waiting on the results of the other semifinal here. But we know one team that will be in the finals.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We know 3 decks that'll be in the finals. Selesnya Tokens, not really talked about very much coming into the weekend, especially after the Pro Tour. I know some players like Seth Manfield, Hall of Famer Seth Manfield, excuse me. He played that at the Pro Tour. But when you take a look at the results of the PT, there's so much conversation around Mono Red, Boros Aggro, Golgari midrange. I mean, it almost feels, and Is It Drix? It almost feels like all the conversation is everything but Selesnya Tokens.
Well, I mean, I think there was an identification by some teams, regardless if it's Selesnya or some other thing, that Legion's Landing is one of the better cards in the format.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of incentives to get on the ground early and that card gets you some staying power in the late game. And we saw that come up in the Golgari matchup, which I thought was going to be good for Golgari just because 5 Finale seems really problematic.
Yep.
And the card quality, the delta in card quality seemed pretty vast to me. But that card getting flipped over just meant that the sweepers weren't enough to just KO. And if you dragged out this long game, then you're trying to manage with the spot removal, and they have cards that generate all these multiple cards. They have cards where if you don't answer them immediately, you're out of the game.
Yep.
And really breeze through that Golgari matchup.
Yeah, no, made it actually look pretty easy to Kiihne. So you saw Legion's Landing transforming into Adanto, the first fort, and obviously that transformation is pretty key if you can actually make it occur, which it doesn't appear to be that difficult to do for a deck like that makes so many tokens.
Right.
And then Venerated Loxodon, that card looks good too. So I'm actually interested to see exactly how the deck will shake out in the next matchup in the finals, no matter what it plays against.
Yeah, and then the Venerated Loxodon came up a lot there in the Golgari matchup too, because there were all these spots where the Golgari deck puts a lot of 2 and 3 toughness creatures on the battlefield, and it looks like, all right, well, I have all these 1/1s, but that isn't really profitable for me to be able to attack with any of them until I can go so wide that I can, over 3 turns, maybe run you down with all these alpha strikes. Mm-hmm. And Venerated Loxodon made it so, and they came up again in the matchup we just watched frequently, that their 2/2s against your 3/2s on defense, you don't have good blocks. You're not making any inroads. You're just trading off.
Yep.
So it was a lot of raw rate, and also what seemed particularly good against Golgari, where they're trying to hold off your 1 power creatures with 2 toughness creatures. And so that little boost goes from I can fend off a lot of things to I'm trading off, and you can't win making those exchanges.
In the Modern seat, we continue to see Bant Spirits win here, not only on the SCG Tour, but in Modern in general. Talking to Brian Basoko at the end of this tournament, he just said, I'm not sure Humans is that well positioned anymore right now, so he might be looking to explore Bant Spirits. Bant Spirits did win Grand Prix Atlanta a handful of weeks ago. We've seen Zan Saeed win an Open with Bant Spirits earlier this year. Cat Light making top 8 with Bant Spirits. This is a real deck now, folks.
Yes. No, it's a really a deck that I'm always skeptical of, where I look at these decks where it's like a lot of weak cards and a lot of expensive cards. And in Modern, I just get the hives looking at deck lists like that.
It's a weird looking deck.
Like, don't you just get killed or just draw cards that suck and die or whatever? But a lot of decks in Modern right now are really soft in the air. Collected Company and a bunch of creatures that play really well at instant speed is always going to be a powerful package. Mana's good. You have a lot of the strong points of Humans without being nearly as liable to the